Welcome everyone to RaceSpotTV for tonight's coverage of the Apex E-Series by Kultec. Tonight, we are at the Charlotte Roval for what should be an exciting finale to the season for round number 6. And you'll watch it all here on RaceSpotTV live from flag to flag coverage for what should be some exciting action involving tonight the Mazda MX-5 Cups. As you can see, the Roval will be used today. Similar at 50 minutes is the laps with 12 turns to deal with today. 20 degrees Celsius, about 21 degrees Fahrenheit, and partly cloudy skies. Barely any wind to deal with on the racetrack for tonight's action here.
What better car track combo to do it? It's a car track combo that pretty much, I'll say, most of us at iRacing are combos that we are kind of used to doing, as it's part of the free content that iRacing does provide. And it's kind of interesting because in previous seasons the Mazda MX-5 used to open this championship, but for this season they decided to leave it for last. And it's gonna be really interesting because this is a track that, yes, it is wide, it is open, especially when you go into
just put up an even faster time of 1 minute 20 seconds, .171, while Jorge Flores and Damasio Martinez are still in your top 5 with Roberto Montero, Jake Vette, Alberto Garcia Blasco, Ruben Garcia, and Emmanuel Lopez rounding out your top 10 in this field. As you're seeing, here is Jorge Cortez as these drivers continue to try and get the best times. He is one of the 2 drivers not to record qualifying times right now. The other is Alex de Alba, who is still sitting on the pit lane, who very likely end up having to start off in the back. As you see the speeds being picked up, going around through turn number 2 all the way down towards the backstretch. Slipstream will definitely be playing a factor today, that's for sure, Elvin, as you mentioned.
And that will definitely make this race really interesting. But for now, qualifying, it is a solo effort, of course, but Johnny Guindy right now on pole position. One quick thing to note though, and this is something that I noticed when I was looking at the times themselves for this race. And Raúl Pérez Gama right now, he holds the 8th fastest time in race pace here in iRacing on this car track combo, and right now he's sitting in P2. So the fact that Johnny Guindy right now it's in pole position by almost 4/10 of a second, that has to tell you something.
I think it definitely does, that's for sure. And that should make things interesting to see how Perez Gama is in the race pace, as you said, of course. Sole qualifying for this. Of course, with it being the last round of the season, things are getting interesting for the Drivers' Championship. Basically, Johnny Guindy is currently 54 points ahead of Sergio Girelli in the standings. Those 2 spots, though, are not secured yet, because when the competition yell comes out at the 28 minutes to go mark, and when they have the bonus points, if Johnny Guindy, for whatever reason, is outside the top 10, the max points you can gain is 25 points. If Sergio Girelli, for example, is in that max points section, he'll be only 29 points back by the time the checker flag comes. It really, a lot of different variables to come up and across for Sergio Girelli. Has to have a lot of luck, but for Johnny Guindy, has to still have at least a decent run for today. Damasio Martinez, Raúl Pérez Gama, and Jorge Flores round out your top 5 right now, with Paul Jourdain, Alex de Alba, Roberto Montero, Emmanuel Lopez, and Arturo Romero rounding out your top 10 in this field. Of course, with this as well, there is, of course, prizes to be on the line. The prizes, of course, the champion winning a Kultec RS simulator with a steering and pedal set included in that. Second place wins a $100 gift card in US dollars. $50 goes to the 3rd place driver. So that is on the line, along with a random prize for the Kultec Silla Gamma, which you have to participate in every race, compete in at least 80% of the distances, and have at least top 20 incidences. As of today, there are 15 drivers in that A lot of them include your champion drivers that are in the lower parts of the standings in that list, like Kirill Enrique, Jose Martin Rodriguez, Juan Herrero, Lucero Arced Vargas, and a few different drivers. That continues the pressure on for the season finale, leading us into your starting grid here for tonight's action for 50 minutes on the Charlotte Roval. On the Charlotte Roval tonight, Johnny Guindy's on the pole right now next to one of the top drivers in the world record books for iRacing, Raul Perez Gama. Sergio Dorelli, he needs to have a flawless night and have to have some luck if he wants to try and get past Guindy. He starts off in third with Jorge Flores starting in fourth. Roberto Montero starts off in row number 3 with Damasito Martinez. Alberto Garcia Blasco starts in 7th, Jake Vitti in 8th. Raul Garcia and Emmanuel Lopez round out your top 10, with Jorge Morendo Marquez and Miguel Moyer in 11th and 12th. Jorge Morendo is currently in 13th. Paul Jourdain is in 14th. Arturo Romero and Kirill Enrique 15th and 16th. Ricardo Guzman and Lucio Arvisad Vargas start off in 17th and 18th spots, and the final 2 drivers to record times for today's race, Guillermo Barreras and Jorge Cortez. 2 drivers did not record times, Alex de Alba and Marcelo Moreno. So this should be interesting. 22 drivers are on the field on the grid for tonight's action for round number 6. What are your final thoughts here, and who do you think will be the one to be able to come out on top tonight?
Well, we got green flag right now, and looks like I am going to I'm gonna have to reserve my thoughts for later, because green flag is out and Johnny Guindy up to a good start, but Raul Perez Gama right now in P2, Sergio Dorelli in P3, and a good fight there for P number 5.
Great battles already off using a standing start for the past race. There was, of course, the safety car start. So right now, everyone getting all set to go. Damasio Martinez already going on the charge as Jorge Flores goes wide and drives through the grass down towards the middle section of the road course part of the Roval. He loses a few different spots because of himself going wide there, as Jorge Martin Marquez continues to drive on by. Ruben Garcia trying to go double wide here, as everyone goes now onto the NASCAR Oval circuit.
Now coming into the NASCAR Oval, Johnny Guindy with a nice lead, but Raul Perez Gama really close by, and he is closing the gap. Sergio Dorelli in P3, just a little bit behind, but with how powerful this slipstream it is, he will definitely catch up, and Raul Perez Gama goes to the outside, going side by side with Johnny Guindy into NASCAR 3.
Through NASCAR 3 now, as Raul Perez Gama is now out in front, able to use the slipstream to get the pass, as he is already out in front. He will lead lap number 1 in front of Johnny Guindy to start things off tonight for round number 6. You'll have to try and see if he can continue to hang on here. Things should be interesting through the road course section. And third spot is Sergio Dorelli, as that top 3 is starting to pull away from Damasio Martinez and the likes of them. Meanwhile, battle for round P7 and 8th, Morendo Marquez almost went wide off the racetrack, as Alberto Garcia Blasco is now alongside him. He'll try and have to have a bit of a later braking here, as Blasco will move up into P number 7, as moving on back is Manriquez because of one wide exit through part of the sections as you follow along with Jourdain.
Yeah, definitely not what Josue Morado was looking in there, and he lost a couple of positions. Definitely he got lucky that he didn't lose a lot more position like Jorge Flores did, for sure.
That's for sure right now, as right now you're seeing Jourdain trying to peek on the outside. Meanwhile, the leaders continue to go into NASCAR 3. Raul Perez Gama this time was able to keep the slipstream away from Johnny Guindy, as Johnny Guindy had a little bit of speed built on up, but lost it through 3 and 4 because of a higher line used by Perez Gama. Maybe a little bit of somewhat stretched strategic driving lines being involved here, and now all of a sudden though, things are getting bundled up for fourth spot, because Jake Vitti will now move to the left side. He is on the worst spot though on that line, as he loses 2 spots in the span of half a straightaway, as he'll fall all the way back to outside the top 5 and try trade positions on the track with Mortero. He can't get underneath. He'll have to be patient here as he drops back to P number 6.
And now this battle for what? Yeah.
Pardon me 1 second, because chaos just ensued just outside the top 10. 4 different drivers stopped around the sections here. Let's go to the RaceSpotTV replay to see what just happened here. Miguel Moyer was one of the people involved. He gets bumped from behind. Alex de Alba gets involved, and he ends up going for a tumble. He's still driving through the dirt right now, as this is already our first incident. Comes at around lap number 3.
First incident in here, and definitely really unfortunate, but this battle here for the lead really intensifying as Johnny Guindy back into the lead. But now we got 2 by 2 here from P2 all the way to P5, and even car number 27 Jake Vite in this battle as well.
This is becoming very intense. Everyone trying to find a way to shuffle on around here in the early minutes of this race. Sergio Dorelli, meanwhile, with all the shuffling, he's up to 2nd spot, as he's doing what he needs to do right now. Damasio Martinez up into the podium spot. Perez Gama continuing to drop back for at least the time being. Remember, of course, you mentioned, of course, the one of the top world record times. He has been someone, though, who has gained a lot of speed down the straightaways here as you follow along with Damasio Martinez. We'll see if he can try and get a run here, because this is where a lot of the passes have been positioned up at the front at the very least early on, where if you get a decent slipstream here, you're going to be able to get a pass set up down the straightaway into NASCAR 3. For Perez Gama, as you're following along with here, he just about got the speeds he needed to, but by the end of the straightaway, just absolutely matched it up completely with Martinez. That's why he couldn't get the exact run he needed there, as now things can settle on down for at least the time being up at the front. But they do have Miguel Moyer coming right out of the pits, just a few car lengths right in front of the leaders now from that damage from before. Should be safe to go, but as you see, that top 6 really all grouped together, separated by a few lanes. This is in 7th with Jordi Morendo right now, as he's trying to keep in front of Enriquez right now, who is having a few different drivers and a bit of a train, so to speak, lined up behind of him.
And with Jordi Maldonado leading this pack right now, but battle here for P8 as they go into turn number 6 between Josue Morado and car number 11 Emmanuel Lopez. But it looks like Josue Morado so far, he has the upper hand, but now we're going back into the oval, and so look for Emmanuel Maldonado to get a good run in here.
Let's see if he can do exactly that here. He's lined himself up, as you right now are following on with Emmanuel Lopez trying to get a run, and Enriquez just can't gain enough speed, I don't think, though, to position that pass. As you see Melrondo pulling right on away still on that bottom side, as they reach about a top speed of 125, 126 miles per hour from the car at the front of the train, about 126 next time by. As you're seeing the battle again for Perez Gama, he's going to have to deal with some lap traffic here. They just zoom on by the lap traffic on the inside. But for Perez Gama, he's trying to get any chance he can to position himself up for a pass, because he wants to try and get up to that top 2. Because Johnny Guindy almost went into the grass on the exit down the straightaway for the road course section of the racetrack. So this is starting to get very intense, where I think for Perez Gama, he wants to be back up there where he was a few laps ago.
He wants to be up there for sure, but right now Sergio Durelli and Johnny Guindy, they have a battle here for the championship. And now this is something really interesting. If you think about the strategy in here for Sergio Durelli, do anything that Johnny Guindy does not do. So if Johnny Guindy comes into the pits, Sergio Durelli, you stay out. And for Johnny Guindy, mimic every move that Sergio Durelli does. So 2 different strategies, and really interesting as the race goes along, which one will be the best.
Remember, the competition caution is at 28 minutes to go, so that has a big factor. Meanwhile, Raul Perez Gama, he's dropped back another position because he tried to use the outside line to get a run but couldn't do so. That's because Jake Vitti, he's up to the third spot now, and he's getting turned. Gets bumped by Martinez, trying to save it, able to save it. My goodness. He is still drifting along as now he collides with Martinez. Almost completed the save, but Martinez and Vitti will both lose a lot of time and a lot of spots after that one.
Wow, I definitely have to say that was pretty much safe of the race and perhaps of the championship, because Jay Vite, he had that car lost completely, and even after that he lost it again, and that could have been a big incident. So the fact that everybody is still able to race, that they are still able to be in this race without any major incidents, that's something to be said.
That's definitely something to be said. We'll see this one more time. You see him going for a side drift, basically, going through the turn, ends up having to wheel that thing, able to straighten it on out before the next turn. But remember, these tires are still going to be fairly hot and loose, still gets bobbling around, gets into Martinez a little bit, and still able to keep it straight. Only loses 2, maybe 3 spots at the most from that huge save for sure. As the battle up at the front, yeah, as you see, Johnny Guindy still up in front of Sergio Dorelli. They have kept fairly close, that is for sure, between them. Meanwhile, Roberto Montero just moved to third spot, but that's about to change because Raul Perez Gama, he's cutting underneath once again down the straightaway. Able to get a perfect arc as they move their way towards NASCAR 1, but diving towards the bottom and preferred line is Montero. Perfect crossover moves between these two, as Montero will have the third position right on back for at least the time being, as Perez Gama is just going to stick to the high side and now slowly drifted on down for the draft.
And now Donaciano Martinez joining in the party, but it looks like Raul Perez Gama, he will stay behind Roberto Montero. I don't think he is going for the overtake, but he has to be worried because Donaciano Martinez is right behind, and I don't think he is going to be that patient.
Yeah, down the back stretch, they actually bump drafted a little bit. That doesn't happen in just NASCAR sometimes, I guess, folks, as Montero's still trying to keep in front of Perez Gama, trying to peak any way he can, as earlier braking for Perez Gama, later for Montero, but Montero's able to gain some time. Meanwhile, Martinez, he's still dealing with Miguel Moyer as a lapped car. Remember, Vitti is still back there as well, as that lapped car, of course, and Moyer involved in an incident for lap number 3. That was about at the 45 minutes to go mark, as they're able to finally pull on away from them. Let's go back up to the battle up at the front for the lead, though, because Sergio Dorelli has reeled on in Johnny Guindy. It's down to just half a second, and it's been slowly but surely closing on up, depending on the sections of the road course. You see the faster time from Dorelli for lap number 7. They're about even now, but look at the run that Dorelli's having from the draft. Big time difference in speed, up to 124 already, while Guindy's only at 117. He just gets zoomed on by, and Sergio Dorelli takes the lead.
Sergio Dorelli now in front, and now for car number 86, this is something that he also has to think. Whoever leads the most lap for this race, they also get 2 bonus points. We know that Johnny Guindy already has 2 extra points for the pole position, so at least for Sergio Dorelli, if he wants to think about winning this championship and in a way kind of neutralize those 2 extra points, he has to think big picture. He needs to lead the most laps in here to kind of get those 2 points out of Johnny Guindy.
And right now, he's out in front of him. It's just a matter of making sure Johnny Guindy doesn't get right on by, because multiple times already we've seen that if you position yourself the perfect way out of NASCAR 2, you'll be able to reel on in the lead car, especially as we look at a gaggle of cars battling along. This is Martinez right now in 5th spot. Jake Vitti is currently behind him in 6th spot. You remember the save that Viti had, using Martinez a little bit to finish off the save, so to speak. He's going to now try and reel on in the position for the top 5 spots. Much faster on the exit of NASCAR 2. He's going to just cut underneath on the bottom side and able to zoom on by preferred line as he's up into the top 5 once again. You see the lap car in. Moyer still trying to get a little bit of help in terms of the speed, but still going to stay out of this battle for now as Jake Viti is up in front of him. Now going towards 2 wide, now to possibly 3 wide as Jake Viti is able to stay out in front. I believe that Martinez actually scraped the wall on the entrance to turn number 1. That loses him an extra spot as they almost went 3 wide with Miguel Moyer.
And that battling and that lap car has allowed car number 911, Jordi Maldonado, to get into this scrap here for what is P number 5. So great battling in there. So it kind of looks like Jordi Maldonado, he is trying to get around Miguel Mier. He needs to get right around him if he wants to get a shot at Jake Viti.
Yeah, that is for sure right now. You can see the opportunities that are being waited upon. Jake Viti's pulled on away from the rest of these guys for at least the time being. Moyer still in front of the next group of cars, as you mentioned here. So gonna try at least maybe use him as a cushion, but right now that number 911 machine, he's just gonna try and use the outside line. Big difference in speed on the bottom side as Jake Viti's reeled right on in, as this is going to set up for an intense battle for position once again. 2 wide, heading towards the start and finish line. As Viti now battling with Maldonado, able to get on by. He'll get the top position in front of Viti. He's up to 5th spot and able to get on by as Viti drops to 6th. Martinez back up to 7th spot, but he has Emmanuel Lopez now to deal with, so very intense action being dealt with these drivers. Meanwhile, the battle up at the front for the lead is heated up once again because Johnny Guindy, he was just on the doorstep down the straightaway, down in the road course section of the Roval. Now you can see he's trying to get a diamond off exit to reel him on in Sergio Girelli potentially here down out of NASCAR 2. He is in the good position to do so here. They're both at about the same speed, already faster by 2 miles per hour, and much faster in fact. You see Girelli using the high line as Johnny Guindy just zooms on by on the bottom side, and he'll take the lead back once again, as this has been an absolute battle, trading position after position with whoever gets the run on that bottom side of a NASCAR 2.
Now Johnny Guindy back in the lead again, and it kind of looks like Sergio Girelli may be settling just a little bit right now. We got to remember the competition yellow will come at minute 22. That means 28 minutes ago, and we are 5.5 minutes away from that. So now the question is, when it comes to pit strategy, when Johnny Guindy and Sergio Girelli will come in, will they come before the competition yellow, or will they wait until that competition yellow to come into the pits?
A couple drivers have gone into the pits here and there. A few of them were involved in incidents. It's early on. Paul Jourdain is the main driver that really stands out to me that has done his pit stop. That was a 27-second stop. Also in that group is Jorge Flores, by the way, with 13-second stop. So those are a couple of the stops to keep in mind outside of that incident in the early part of this race. As you see this gang of cars still battling around. This is currently for P5 on back. Jake Viti trying to get the run right now again on that 911 machine. And you can see still a bit farther back. It's going to take about a lap to position himself again for this battle for the position to get back into the top 5. But Jordi definitely has a very quick machine that he's been able to keep up in front of a lot of these drivers in competition, and able to find the perfect places to position a pass. But look at Jake Viti. He is going to try and get right on the doorstep. Bounced off the right rear quarter panel for a split second. He's going to go for a later braking line and just able to hold on to 6th as he cuts off the Newells and Martinez. This was almost too wide heading into turn number 1 after the start and finish line. I think this is, some drivers I think are using a lot of give or take. Some are saying, no, I want to take it all before the competition yellow.
And that's pretty much about trying to get the best position that you can right now. Jordi Maldonado right there in P5, defending with all he's got, and Jake Vita, he wants that position, but he also has to be careful because Donaciano Martinez and Emmanuel Lopez, they are right there, and any mistakes, well, they will just pounce for, they will pounce for sure.
They definitely will pounce. You don't want to give up a chance to go into the top 5. Remember, competition yellow is starting to close on in as we are just a few moments away and a few minutes away from that competition yellow where bonus points will be awarded out right now. So things could get even more interesting. As you can see, Jordi currently trying to keep on the bottom side still, but Jake Viti has been getting some great runs out through into the triangle, but we have a driver in who is in the top 3 into the pits. It's Roberto Montero, as he's one of the top runners. He comes on in early.
Comes in early, and it looks like, yeah, pretty much Roberto Montero, he is kind of out of the running for the championship. He is a 2-time champion of this series, but for some reason this series he has definitely struggled to kind of get good races in here. So I think he is trying to position himself for the end of this race by coming into the pits. He will, yes, that will means he will not get any points for the top 10 at the competition yellow, but that will definitely set him for a better position at the restart.
Definitely will, as right now this battle still is heating on up. It's now for 4 spots with this with the pit stop starting to come on along. Just under 30 minutes to go here on round number 6 of the Apex Esports E-Series, pardon me, by Kultec, as Maldonado trying to still get on the high side. This time he makes it work, as Jake Viti couldn't get the run he wanted to. Martinez forced up to the high side, as Jake Viti is going to go into the pits. He bobbles around his entry, and he's going to come right on in, right from the top 5. So some of these top drivers are deciding to go in right before the competition yellow, to maybe mix up that strategy, as you said, to try and get the better position for the restart. The last race, Johnny Guindy, he actually did that strategy at the 32 minutes to go mark at Coda. Of course, that was with the Porsches. It looks like he might not do that today, and neither is Sergio Girelli, as those two have pulled away from the rest of the group, about 5.5 seconds between 2nd to 3rd spot.
And if you think about it, Johnny Guindy really doesn't need to do anything different than what he's doing right now, because by finishing in 1st or 2nd position by the competition yellow, that pretty much means championship over too many points for Sergio Girelli to make up. So I think this is a good strategy right now from Johnny Guindy, keeping that position.
I think so too, as right now we are just approaching that 28 minutes to go mark, as we're 20 seconds away from that said mark. Guindy currently getting a nice decent run away from Sergio Girelli, in part because he has Paul Jourdain's machine to work with, as he's going to use him maybe to gain some speed. Manriquez also coming out of the pits in front of them. Interesting strategies coming along with the pit stops. Caution flags out, and just as the caution went around, Paul Jourdain went flying into the wall.
Really unfortunate, really unfortunate there, Will, but there is a good thing. At least the yellow flag is out, so the pace will slow down. One thing all these drivers have, they all have a fast repair, so car number 08, he's not, Paul Jourdain, that's not gonna be really race ending, but definitely unfortunate for sure.
Absolutely unfortunate for sure, but as you said, use the quick repair, you fix the suspension damage that you just ensued on your machine. As you can see, a lot of the drivers really mixing it up with strategy. About half the field pitted, the other half did not here, so that is going to be something to watch for sure in these next few minutes. Of course, Johnny Guindy getting the 25 bonus points here at this point. We're up at the front at the competition, Sergio Girelli in second, Raul Perez Gama in third right now. In fourth, Yuri Maldonado as well in the fifth spot. Emmanuel Lopez. You see that roof pace car coming out on the track. As you can see, a few different drivers continue to zoom on around trying to catch up to that pace car, as that's going to lead to a lot of things to come around before we start our pit stops here. Already, Jourdain bringing his machine down. This is probably a perfect time to mention Kultec. With Kultec, of course, they are the #1 premium gaming chairs brand in Mexico. Their focus is, of course, on unique design, ergonomics, and comfort for the most demanding gamer and professional users. Employing premium materials as triple layer PU, automotive grade fabric, and 100% leather. For more information or to buy any of their products, go to www.kultec.com.mx. But with that, let's go side by side. Drivers will start figuring themselves and sorting themselves out. We'll see whose pit strategies come out on top. You're watching the 2018 Apex Esports Series by Kultec. Welcome back, everyone, to the 2018 Apex Esports Series by Kultec. As we continue our coverage here for round number 6 at Charlotte Motor Speedway and its Roval. As you may have seen in your side-by-side, things might get interesting here because 8 of the top 9 drivers elected not to pit, meaning they are now going to be in fuel conservation mode for the rest of the way, Alvin. This is going to be absolutely interesting to see if this works out, that's for sure, Alvin. How do you think they can do it? Of course, they have the pace laps to help them with that strategy.
Well, the pace laps will help for sure. Now, the question is, if you are in fuel saving mode, the last place you want to be is in front. So, Johnny Guindy, really interesting. He went with that strategy as well. Will he want to be in front of the field once the green flag drops, because you want to be on the slipstream to save the most amount of fuel? So kind of interesting how this part here, from here all the way to the checker flag, how this will play out.
It will definitely be interesting. You see the pace lights are off on the pace car. Everyone lining up double file. This is going to be interesting because, of course, remember, there has been a lot of draft being used out of NASCAR 2 all the way to NASCAR 3 with these drivers. That might play a role into it. It's going to be absolutely interesting to see if they can get this to work. So this is going to be coming possibly to the final minute to see what everyone does here and how everyone reacts here. Johnny Guindy up at the front. Sergio Girelli will be on the outside line with Perez Gamma in the 3rd spot. Maldonado is currently in the 4th spot. And in the 5th spot right now, Emmanuel Lopez, as everyone waits for the pace car. Remember, 8 of the top 9 did not go into the pits. Many of the drivers took tires, a few drivers fuel only. As they approach their way towards the green flag, Johnny Guindy, the control car, as he gets a good jump. And we're back underway here for the Apex East Series, once again from the Charlotte Roval. Sergio Girelli is going to have to fall back to 3rd spot, and we got trouble. Multiple cars going around right on into the exit of turn number 1. Mainly going around is Sorel Enrique as he got into trouble. One car comes out of the pits and Barros, and Manriquez also in the wall. Let's see what just happened on the race spot replay.
And it kind of looks like right at the restart pit, pretty much everybody just throwing caution out the window, and well, many cars there involved in the middle. Jake Vite, Enrique Curiel involved as well.
Yeah, you see there, worst of it, of course, going to that man who went around in a circle, of course. I got into the back of him with the situation, Guzman. You see there, Barad, he was coming out of the pits, so he got a perfect view of this one. He's in 21st spot. As now we go back up towards the front in this one. Everyone's starting to settle on down as we're about 1 lap just about into this green flag run. You see Perez Gamma in 2nd spot. He might have to work with Sergio Girelli here to catch back up to Johnny Guindy, who got a big time jump on the restart. Already 0.6 of a second. In fact, down to 0.5 of a second up at the front of the track right now, as that top 3 has just basically pulled on away from the rest of the Gagua cars and the chaos behind them. 4th spot right now is Maldonado right now once again. In 5th spot, Emmanuel Lopez with Montero leading the next group of cars as Ruben Garcia loses a few spots. Alex de Alba, who's recovering from an incident early on, he's now trying to make some moves to try and get himself up into the 8th spot, has to cycle himself away back. A lot of drivers having a lot of different strategies. Just to keep in mind, the first driver with fuel taken was Roberto Montero, who is in the 6th spot right now in the racetrack. The first driver right now who had a longer stop in terms of possibly taking tires, of course, Jake Vite, who is currently in the 10th spot on the racetrack. Just to keep that in mind for anyone trying to jot down their notes and try and make sure they don't lose their mind with their strategies.
And definitely with some of the drivers pitting and some of the drivers not pitting, now this has become really interesting as a battle for the lead. Raul Perez Gama going to the outside of Johnny Guindy here into the start-finish line, and it looks like Johnny Guindy will not fight it.
Not going to fight it here, of course. Remember, the top drivers, they didn't pit whatsoever, so they're going to probably have to use the draft of each other's cars here. Might have been a smart move to let him go on by, because you lose more gas by being the front car for a draft. So, allow Perez Gama to go out in front, fixes that issue, allows you to save the fuel if you're for Johnny Guindy. This might be a smart move if he can continue to stay on behind him and use this draft for the next couple of laps to conserve fuel.
I think definitely that is a smart strategy right there from Johnny Guindy, although we also have to remember Johnny Guindy definitely he has nothing to lose right now, because he already secured the championship at the competition yellow. So anything that he does right now, it doesn't matter. He's still gonna win the championship now. What he wants for sure, he wants this win.
Great point to definitely mention, of course. Of course, got maximum points at the competition yellow. So, of course, this is your season champion, currently in second spot. A dominant run for him. Multiple wins throughout the season. He's going to drop to third potentially for the time being. But somebody that has been very strong from the get-go. Of course, 2006, he was a part, of course, of the GT Academy. Came out as the champion of that academy. As you can see, the official sponsor for his car. And now, he's going to be your champion for the Apex E-Series, powered by Kultec.
Now, really interesting, Jordi Maldonado came all the way back, and now he is running in P number 2, so definitely a strong race for him. Definitely, he is in front here. He wants to go for the win, but right now, Raúl Pérez Gama with a little bit of a gap, but I think Raúl Pérez Gama, that is the last thing he wants. Yes, you want to pull away, but under these circumstances where you need to save fuel, that is the last thing you want.
I think so, as right now you can see Perez Gama, he's on his own in his own lonesome. Already a 5-mile-per-hour difference heading into the entrance of NASCAR 3, just from using the draft alone. As you can see, the gap starting to close very quickly that Perez Gama was able to get. Meanwhile, Johnny Guindy continues to just drop on behind. And meanwhile, early braking from Maldonado, once again dropping on back in terms of time a little bit. Maybe trying to get a run settling up once again. Johnny Guindy stays in third spot. Sergio Dorelli, of course, second in the points right now. He's right now in fourth spot, behind the now champion for this season, but still a long ways to go. 13 minutes, 15 seconds now to decide things here on RaceSpotTV.
And we also had to point out that in 5th place, Roberto Montero, the first car that came into the pits running in P5 right now. He is just 2.2 seconds behind this battle here for the lead. So if these cars keep battling, I think this is what Roberto Montero he is looking for. He needs for these cars to keep battling and perhaps saving a little bit of fuel here and there for him to catch up.
As you can see, the Go-Kart Mania machine on his own in the group, and because of the distance behind him between the next car and Damasceno Martinez, he's been able to pull on away. As meanwhile, battle for second, Sergio Dorelli on the outside makes the pass work. As he's now trying to go for a big run on Perez Gama, has to go braking into turn number 1 as they exit the quad oval and head into the road course section of the Roval. Dorelli able to get that run he needed to there. Still has to get the pass to work on Perez Gama, as Perez Gama did pull away, of course, a couple laps ago. Remember, now closed right on up. Meanwhile, 3rd and 4th backing on up for the time being. And as you mentioned, the guy to watch in 5th, he's closing up and quick, as he is just 2.2 seconds behind, make that 2 seconds flat behind Johnny Guindy.
Closing in, but now it's really interesting now for me that Johnny Guindy has dropped all the way back to P4. I think he definitely realized that he needs to save a lot of fuel if he wants to make it to the end of the race without coming into the pits again. So being here, no need to push it, no pressure. But well, talking about pressure, Sergio Dorelli right on the bumper of Raul Perez Gama.
Lots of pressure as Dorelli being patient here as they enter into the quad oval. As you can see, Dorelli can't get the run he wants to here. They matched about the same speeds heading into turn number 1, as he's going to stick on behind, loses a bit of time because he went slightly wider on the exit as they continue to try and sort things out. This is going to take a little bit of time to try and position the pass here because, as you mentioned, one of the top world record times from Raul Perez Gama up at the front. But you got to think too, with the fuel conservation being the front car of this group of 2 to 4 cars, depending on how you look at things, probably going to best consider it as 4. He's got to eventually relinquish that position, maybe, if he thinks he doesn't have enough fuel here, or else he might run out of fuel in the last lap if that becomes the kind of case here. As you see the run by Dorelli being positioned on up. Will he let him on by Perez Gama? Perez Gama, he's not going to let anything go as they continue to cross on up down the straightaway. Entering NASCAR 3 as Perez Gama hugs the bottom side. Dorelli holds on to the bottom. Very aggressive driving to stay out of the front for Perez Gama. I think at this point, but the way he's driving, he might feel he may be able to make it.
He may be able to make it for sure, but here's the bad news. Roberto Montero now less than 1 second behind Johnny Guindy in this battle as well.
Hold on 1 second. Perez Gama just had a bad exit out of turn number 1 and had to let a few drivers by. So he is out of the lead, and in the lead now is Sergio Dorelli. Something must have just happened with Perez Gama there. That was on the exit of turn number 1, right as we switched the camera angle. And now he's in the gaggle of cars. Did not end up cutting the corner. I think he just outran the corner. And now he's bumping and baiting, trying to hang on to second spot. He won't be able to do so as that 911 machine drives on by. He's up into second spot as Johnny Guindy's now hungry to move back into third spot. All because of one mistake, over driving the corner into the exit of turn number 1.
And look at this train of cars from P2 all the way to P8. Alex de Alba in P8, where he had that big accident at the beginning of the race. In the battle here for P2 as they go even 3 wide.
3 wide, back to 2 wide. 2 cars, 2 deep. As they enter the quad oval, battling back and forth. Trying to stay out in front is Maldonado right now on the bottom side. Guinea on the high side to lead that group. Guinea's just going to conserve and move back to position. He moves back to third for now, but big time drop back for Perez Gama. He is all the way outside the top 5 now. Huge swing of events here where one moment you're up at the front, now you've dropped to 6th and dropping fast.
Dropping fast in here for sure, but let's not forget right now, Sergio Dorelli in the front of this race here, a comfortable 1.8 second lead, but he is at a disadvantage because he doesn't have any help from anybody. And these drivers, yes, they may help each other, but with 7.5 minutes to go, I don't think there's gonna be any help.
I don't think so either, and that might be what Sergio might want to see here. It's still a 1.3 second gap. These drivers are not waiting to line themselves up with 7 minutes to go, as Guindy's going to get a huge run on the outside. He's just going to pull on away and zoom on forward. 0.2 of a second gain and 1/4 alone. Make that 3 as they exit NASCAR 4. Johnny Guindy now into second spot. And guess who is up there in P number 3? Roberto Montero. He is now up there. First driver who had a pit stop. He's going to be behind right now of Guindy for now as they are closing up and quick. This could be a wild finish to round number 6 here at the Charlotte Roval.
Now coming here into the infield, we got Jordi Maldonado right now in P4 with a little bit of pressure from Donaciano Martinez, but right at the front, that lead, car number 86, Sergio Durelli had, well, poof, gone right now because Johnny Guindy right back at it again.
And that was to be expected, of course, with the speeds that you can have at the draft now. Durelli's gap went from 1.8 seconds to 0.3 of a second in 2 laps flat. As Johnny Guindy, he's the first one to reach Durelli. Durelli's just going to let him on by with the speed difference, as this is going to be battling for the lead side by side. Guindy on the bottom side. He's just going to move on by. He takes the lead with less than 6 minutes to go here for round number 6 and for the season for the Apex East Series.
Johnny Guindy back in the lead with Sergio Durelli. Really no contest. I think he kind of realized that the fuel issue was a little bit bigger than that he was expecting, so definitely no point in trying to fight for that anymore. But Roberto Montero right now in P3, he has no worries about fuel. He has no worries about trying to come into the pits for a splash of gas. He can go all the way. He can push it if he wants to.
I think at this point you can see he's trying to find any way he can get by Durelli. Guindy, of course, leading this group of cars. This is a train going way deep for position all the way back to P number 8. As Durelli trying to position himself in the run. Montero, though, he's been having a very strong car since the competition yellow. He's right on the doorstep of Durelli. Gonna exit onto NASCAR 1, heading into NASCAR 2. This is the perfect place to get a run. Montero, he's got a great run here. Already a bit faster on the exit. Hugging the bottom is Durelli, though. Montero, he's gonna bump draft him down the backstretch. Bump draft him a second time. Make that 3 times as they enter NASCAR 3. Montero's trying to give those taps saying go, go, go. As Durelli and Montero match up with their speeds heading into the quad oval. Maybe a couple laps to go at the most here on this racetrack. 4 minutes to go. Montero goes to the bottom side. He's able to get the preferred line. He moves to second, and now he's just got 1 car to beat. Johnny Guindy, who is up at the front with that side-by-side battle for second. The gap's to about a second, but not for long here, Alvin.
A couple of bumps there on the backstretch coming into turn number 3, and we got an incident there.
Yes, and it's the incident involving that 911 machine. And it is going to be a big one for him. He drops all the way back to 8th because of this. Maldonado, who getting bumped, going side-by-side action, and sends him off spinning there. Bad luck for him there as he loses a ton of time, drops off to 8th spot. As we go back live, because this is still going to get interesting here. Battle for second still heating up. Montero and Durelli. This is still going back and forth. They're going to bump draft again heading into NASCAR 3 with 3 minutes to go. They're trying to work together here to try and catch up to Johnny Guindy. They have a lot of speed here going to the corner. 2 mile-per-hour difference. Make that 3. They head into turn number 1. We'll see if they go for a bit of late braking here. They stay single file. Montero able to close the gap to half a second to make it stick. This is going to heat on up by the time they get to NASCAR 2.
And with 3 laps to go, this is going really interesting because Roberto Montero right now in P2, he's trying to close the gap to Johnny Guindy, but he will need a little bit of assistance from Sergio Durelli for sure, although he has been able to close the gap just little by little as the laps take by. So I think Roberto Montero, once they get back into the oval portion here, as he gets really close, he tries to get a look. I think he's trying to put as much pressure as possible on Johnny Guindy, so now this could be the time.
This, I think, is the time. Look at the timer. 2 minutes to go. It takes about 1 minute and 20 seconds to get around this track, so the white flag may or may not come out at this point by the time they get to the next time around. You can see Guindy able to get a decent run. Montero on the bottom side. Durelli trying to use the high side for a run. Montero closes on up on Guindy. He has to close up and back off for the split second. Montero right on the back door. Durelli there on the high side. Montero, he might make it 3 wide. He tries to peek underneath the Guindy. 1.5 minutes to go in the timer. As Montero, he is there. He's underneath. Can he make it stick as they go into turn number 2, heading into turn number 3? Side-by-side action. Not the preferred line. Martero's going to diamond the corner and can't get underneath the Dorelli. Able to just barely poke the nose on, though, in the exit because Gindi went sliding around. Dorelli now there. Perez Gamma's all there now with a minute to go. Absolutely thrilling finish being set on up here. As Gindi, he's been arcing it in towards the exit to try and cut off the bottom side. Martero hugs the bottom side, heading into NASCAR 1. He is right on there in his Mazda MX-5 Cup machine. He's using the apron, in fact, to try and position the pass. He's able to do so as he gets by Gindi. We have a new leader with 33 seconds to go.
Great job there by Roberto Montero to try to position his car by keeping the car inside the white line. Yes, it was 2 wheels outside, but there was still 2 wheels inside, so great job by him, and that also allows Sergio Dorelli on the inside of Johnny Gindi to take that P2 as they come into the white flag. Yes, the championship may be decided, but this race is not.
This race is not. As you see, 5 seconds to go on the timer. White flag getting set to be put up at the flag stand. It's up at the flag stand. As Martero, can he hang on for one more lap? Johnny Gindi's in second. Sergio Dorelli in third. As Perez Gamma, he's absolutely disappeared. He was up at the 4th spot. I believe he might have ran out of fuel, if I'm correct here. As you see there, yes, in fact, he had to pull into the pits, so his chances are gone. For the top 3, they are going to keep on duking it on out. Heading towards NASCAR 1, Martero, he'll hug the bottom sideline. Gindi's going to match the line, so is Dorelli. They go lined up single file, heading back onto the racetrack. This is going to be the perfect prime spot to position yourself for the pass. As Gindi, he's got the run lined up. Martero hugging the bottom side. Gindi has to go on the high side if he wants to make this work. He's going to do exactly that. Will Dorelli join him? Yes, he will. As Johnny Gindi moves side by side. This is for the win for round number 6. Dorelli's going to make it 3 wide. Gindi has to back on out as he falls behind. I believe Gindi might have just started running out of fuel now, as this is going to give it for the victory to Roberto Montero as he comes away in what was a thriller of a round number 6 over Sergio Dorelli.
And who said that fuel-saving races are boring? This was a fantastic race all the way to the finish. Fuel-saving versus coming into the pits. Yes, Roberto Montero, he came into the pits. The top 8 cars didn't come into, but at the end, it ended up paying as Roberto Montero comes with the win.
You see more battles on your screen right now. You can see that as Martinez trying to hold on with a potential 3-wide battle, able to just hang on for a spot as he comes up in front of that grouping. Very intense racing throughout the field today. Some drivers, such as Marcelo Moreno, they might not have finished with the hood, but they ended up finishing off the race here. 13th position for him. Right side completely battered in. Still able to make it to the checkered flag. But man, oh man, what a thriller to end off round number 6. And for what was a thrilling finish where, of course, your champion battling it out, running out of fuel just in the final corner. And in the end, Roberto Montero able to just come out on top. Congratulations, though, to Johnny Gindi, your Apex E-Series powered by Kultec champion. You definitely deserved it this season. Able to come away with 3 victories on the season, starting off in round number 1 with the Radicals at Monza, the Ferraris at Road Atlanta, and then round number 5 with the Porsches at Coda. You had a strong run for sure. You definitely deserve this championship. Congratulations goes out to you from the RaceSpotTV crew. Here is your race results. Meanwhile, up on your screen, Montero, of course, coming out on top. Dorelli in second. Johnny Gindi, he just ran out of fuel right towards the quad oval. He finishes off in third. Coming away in fourth in what was an absolutely crazy fuel mileage race, Blasco comes away with that. Jorge Flores finishes in the top 5. Jake Pitti, he had his struggles, still comes away in 6th. Martinez comes away 7th. 8th is Lopez, and Alex de Alba in 9th. Of course, he did not record his qualifying time, had to work his way from the back, and was involved in a little bit of trouble here and there, a bit of touch and go, still a top 10. Perez Gamma, he was in 4th, but ran out of fuel 1 lap too short. Arturo Romero just finishes outside the top 10, as Vargas finishes 12th. Moreno in 13th. Maldonado finishes off in 14th spot. First car a lap down is Manriquez because he hit the wall at one point, had to get repairs under green flag conditions. That was just after the competition yellow, I believe. Enrique finishes off in 16, 2 laps down, and this is where the drivers who did not come away to the checker flag start to pop up. Jorge Cortez finishes 9 laps down. Guzman and Garcia, they got into some trouble. They finished off 11 laps down apiece along with Barelas, as you've seen him have a perfect view of one of the incidences in 20th spot. Miguel Moyer comes away 21st. He had some big trouble early on, couldn't recover from that despite having to speed with the leaders at some point. Paul Jourdain does not finish after crashing right at the competition yellow. So what a thriller of a season this was, and a thriller of a season finale. Why don't we talk to our champion? Because I'm pretty sure he's definitely going to be excited for sure. Johnny Gindy is going to be joining us now in the RaceSpotTV booth. Johnny, how do you feel to be the champion for this season?
Oh my, pretty good. Yeah, and it was a pretty fun race on top of it all. It was a really out of the ordinary race. A lot of strategy, a lot of fuel saving. Fortunately, in the end, it didn't work out, and I ran out of fuel in the last corner. But yeah, I still had a bunch of fun, not only in this race, but throughout the whole tournament. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with the performance all throughout. I had a bit of bad luck in two of those races, but apart from that, it was really fun, and I drove pretty well, I think.
Definitely drove pretty well for sure, especially in round number 5 at the victory, and of course, in this battle. I'll ask you a couple questions about the race first, and then focus on the championship's perspective after that, of course. Of course, it became a fuel strategy race where 8 drivers did not go into pit during the competition yellow. What was the decision? Did you decide to not go for fuel and decide to go that way, basically, rather than join drivers like, as you see, Martero, for example, to try and make it sure you went to the end on fuel?
Well, obviously, on hindsight, I would have taken fuel looking at how Roberto won the race and he did pit. But yeah, like if there's a track where that strategy would have worked out, it's this one, because it's pretty easy to pass cars, because the draft is just massive. Even 2 seconds behind the car ahead, you get a bunch of draft effect. But I don't know. I thought I had good pace, and I was sort of considering it. But in the end, I decided to just try to save. Well, since the beginning of the race, I left it open. So I could decide just before the stop. So I was saving fuel in the first stint as well, and then the second one too. But in the end, I honestly didn't know when this car starts to sputter. So I thought I was fine, because I was on, I think, 0.4 liters remaining at the last corner, but it just started sputtering, and I lost. I don't know. Maybe I could have won, but I'm not really sure with the draft. But it would have been really close between the 3 of us.
I think a lot of people had their popcorn out for sure with that finish, that's for sure, especially to end off this season. But of course, as we said, coming away as the champion with this season, as you said, of course, had a bit of adversity, so to speak, to deal with during the middle portions of the season. For you, what went through your mind to make sure you recompose yourself to try and get yourself back to the position you needed to be, to try and get yourself to the position to clinch the championship like you did at the competition yellow?
Yeah, honestly, I was really dispirited after the 4th race, where we got, no, sorry, yeah, the 3rd and 4th races. 3rd one was in Pocono, and I absolutely hate ovals, and great at them, and I was just so bored because I mean, 80% of that race was behind the safety car. Admittedly, one of them was caused by me, so I'll take some blame. And I didn't get a good result there. I got a penalty on top of it all, 10-point penalty. And then the race after that, I qualified on pole at Sebring in the Formula Renault. But my internet connection failed me on the first lap as I was leading. So I lost a bunch of points there. Then I got taken out of the race when I came back. So there's definitely a lot of adversity. But after that, I mean, I knew I was quick, and I just needed a little bit of good luck and just trying to control everything as much as possible. Obviously, internet connection can go anytime, but I was resetting it before every race after that. So I was just trying to eliminate anything that could go wrong.
And before we let you go, is there anyone you want to thank for being a part of this championship season for you? Anyone specific, teammates, sponsors, anyone who is a part of making this the best season for you in terms of coming out on top as the champion?
Absolutely. Obviously, all of the team at Evolution Racing Team, everyone there is great drivers, great people, a lot of fun to add over there. So I'd like to thank them, our sponsors, JRT and Logitech Gaming, and obviously the series organizers, Apex and Kultec, and everyone who participated for the season. The numbers stayed up throughout the season, which is really, really good to see. And for the most part, I had good battles whenever I was around cars. Yeah, but just thank you to everyone who participated. It was great fun, and hopefully we'll repeat it in a few months next year. I don't know.
Hopefully so. Thank you very much, and congratulations on the championship, Johnny.
Yep, and obviously you guys too at RaceSpot for doing the transmissions for all 6 races. You guys are great always.
Thank you very much. Definitely some people like to get that thank you, of course. Thank you very much, and congratulations once again on the championship.
I can sort of sense you're a bit salty because
no,
it was
I'm not salty.
It was the last thing I said. Should have been the first in hindsight. So there you go.
And thank you very much.
All right. See ya.
And after that awkward transition to end off the interview, of course, your final thoughts on the season, Alvin.
It was an absolutely fantastic season. Yes, Johnny Gindy kind of dominated the whole thing, but not without its own letdowns. But at the end, Johnny Gindy was able to come in, and with that pretty much means that me, as the defending champion of this series, well, my run is over. So now I hand over my crown to Johnny Gindy. So again, Johnny Gindy, congratulations on the championship. Definitely
much deserved congratulations, and definitely gonna try and wear the crown that you just handed him with honor for sure. To be honest, of course, I ended up joining this broadcast team for this later on in the season. But from the races I've seen, this is definitely an absolutely unique series, I feel, because of the way where every single race, it's a different track, of course, with a different car. So I think that's going to be definitely something that can definitely be built on from years to come for sure. Can't wait to see what happens, of course, with the next season when that comes down for the Apex E-Series by Kultec. But with that, it's time to say goodbye, everybody, here on RaceSpotTV. It was definitely some great action today. Alvin Neves, of course, being a part of this broadcast crew for the entire season. Thank you very much. You do an absolutely phenomenal job. And thank you very much. Hugo Ruiz also doing a phenomenal job, making sure everything goes very smooth, making sure the productions go smooth, and making sure we don't catch on fire. Of course, iRacing.com was the TV camera providers for tonight. Andres Werner was your overlay designer throughout the 6th-round season. Development by Simon Grossman. Live timing and scoring provided by Nick Theismann. But of course, This was an absolutely thriller of a season for the 6 rounds. Congratulations once again to Johnny Guindy, your Apex East Series powered by Kultec champion. Wear that crown with honor for sure, young man, because you earned it with the drive. You had struggles for a couple races, but you rebounded your way to secure the championship today. Congratulations to Johnny Guindy. But with that, for the rest of our crew, I'm Justin Prince saying so long from Charlotte Motor Speedway, and thank you for being a part of this season. We'll see you next time, and we'll see you next broadcast here on RaceSpotTV and iRacing Live. Stay tuned for that action. Have a good Monday night, everybody.